And in this context, we are very pleased to welcome our special envoy, Yunus Soner, who is in Moscow at this time ahead of Victory Day celebrations. Tell us, Yunus, what is the latest over there? How are preparations coming for tomorrow?
Hello, good afternoon from Moscow, from the Red Square. You see behind me the famous Cathedral of Moscow. Also some preparations made for the parade tomorrow that will take place here at the Red Square tomorrow. Let's remind our viewers, 80 years ago at this day, Gustav Kleintel, the last remaining field marshal of Germany, signed the document of surrender with the corresponding Soviet general in the city of Berlin. So this marks the end of the Second World War, where more than 27 million citizens of the Soviet Union have lost their lives. And these are remembered here in these days, in the Victory Day, by, among other events, March of the Immortal Division, where people carry their pictures, the pictures of their relatives who have taken in the Second World War, who have taken part in the Second World War, and who have lost their lives. And tomorrow here on the Red Square, there will be a military parade to celebrate the Victory Day with the attendance, of course, of the Russian President Vladimir Putin, but also 29 different heads of state or prime ministers will attend this parade here on the Red Square to commemorate the Soviet Union's victory over the German fascism, over the Nazi Germany that occurred on May 8th. We spoke today to the citizens of Moscow, how they see these celebrations, how they see this victory. Some of them said actually that this is already back in the past and they did not give too much attention to it. But the great majority of the people who we spoke to, they expressed a huge pride in this victory. They said that they had lost family members, that they grew up with stories of their grandparents taking part in this war, losing their lives, that they visit their cemeteries, that they visit their tombs, and they feel pride over this victory. And also they stated that this is a uniting moment for the Russian society, because they say, they emphasize that these 27 million people who sacrificed their lives in the Second World War to win this victory were from all Soviet republics. So there were Russians, there were Belarusians, there were also Ukrainians, other people, Armenians, Azerbaijanis. So this is also a moment of remembering this historic moment as in unity and overcoming possible divisions. In that context, it's very important, interesting what the Russian ambassador to Germany, the losing side in that war, has written in a German newspaper. He said this sacrifice was of the entire Soviet population, and this is worth remembering to overcome divisions that are being caused today by Western forces among these people who are have joint cultures, joint languages, a joint history for the centuries in the past. So this is also a moment of unity for the citizens of Moscow, for the citizens of Russia, of coming together again or coming closer with other neighboring people. In that context, it's worth remembering that Russia's President Putin proposed and declared a 3-day ceasefire in the current conflict in Ukraine, to which the Ukrainian presidency did not respond positively. But as we hear on the local level among military forces, also on the Ukrainian side, this proposal was accepted. So we hear that there is quite a calm in that front in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine during these 3 days, which is also very important. Worth remembering that still the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had said he could not guarantee the security of foreign leaders attending this Victory Day here in Moscow, which was considered an imminent threat. There were some drone attacks intended on Moscow, but the Russian air defense has defeated them, so there were no injuries or damages reported in Moscow or in the surrounding. As I said, 29 heads of state will be attending this Victory Day, and among them are the Chinese President Xi Jinping. There is also the Brazilian President Lula da Silva. Today also we participated in an event held by Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro Moros and Cuba's President Miguel Diaz-Canel, who visited a statue of Simon Bolivar here in Moscow. And here Nicolas Maduro held a quite historic speech, I might say, because he said this was not only a victory of the Soviet Union, this was not only a victory of Russia, and this was not only a victory of the past, this was a victory in favor of humanity. And this victory will last today and will last forever, the Venezuelan president said in a very historic and global framework, emphasizing the importance of this day in human history. I think that's an interesting point, as we observe on the other side, on the German side today, attempts to retell the story, to change the history. And also we get reports that, for instance, in Berlin, thousands of people have visited the monument of the unknown soldier in honor of the Soviet soldiers erected there after the World War II. But in this context, German courts have prohibited the use of any symbols, any Soviet symbols, any Russian symbols. Now, thousands of people are trying to celebrate this Victory Day in Berlin, Germany's capital, remembering the sacrifice of the Soviet Union, remembering the sacrifice of the Soviet people, without being allowed to hold any Soviet symbols, which is a kind of ridiculous situation that the German capital today now goes through.
Thank you so much, Yunus, for all the information. We will continue to contact you for upcoming information and news updates from Moscow.